Welcome back to the Fire Emblem Path of Radiance playthrough. And, continuing off of last episode, let's finish off the sadness with despair, and then hope. And, bittersweet moment to show this right now. Seems like it's his first training session with Ike. Grew up big and strong. We've got the makings of a great warrior indeed. However, we were definitely taken from them too early. This is all real, indeed. And it's getting cold. Let's go. Mist is definitely not the maturity or level to take this right now. And all I can do is just linger with regret. So unreal indeed. Oh Lord. It feels very surreal to see Mist crying like this. With the only family she has left being Ike. And Ike doing the impossible, promising to protect everybody, and Mist telling him no. Because then she'll be all alone. She won't allow it. And Ike's not going anywhere. Definitely. Now for the normal chapter title card. Despair and Hope. While this is happening, I guess I'll explain what's happening now. This is the first part where I'm going to actually divide the parts into two. One so that way you can see what happens at the base and all the preparations. And then another part so that way you can view the chapter. So for now, let's get through all the story, as this part is admittedly quite long, for a good reason. And with a little bit of help from Soren and Titania, everybody's kind of just in a bit of a state of shock from Greil. And this didn't go well. And Boyd's asking if Ike's alright. Start talking. Shinon and Gotri have left us. As said earlier, Shinon and Gotri, they were temporary. They were never going to stay. As such, they left us because of Ike. Or so it seems. Maybe not so much Gotri, but definitely Shinon. Shion just exploded, and he and Gotri left not too long ago. But it was a waste of time, it seems. It just happened sooner than they wanted. Indeed, Soren, indeed. As far as losing fighting strength is concerned, by adding new members to the team. And Boyd... It is said a bit callously, but it's true. It would have been nice to have kept them. Oh well. And it's not your fault, Titania. And he's saying the truth, and he's not trying to gain anyone's pity, which is very mature to say. I gotta say, if there's one part about Ike that's good, he definitely acts. He has his good, bright moments of being mature, despite being pretty brash, if I'm being honest. And it's his journey through the world, if you want me to be honest. Start calling him boss. It's a cute conversation. I'll definitely say that, too. Reese, and Mist is finally asleep. Commander Ike has a nice ring to it. And There's always a place for a mage in the mercenary company, especially whenever it's tactical knowledge, along with objectivity. Plus, Soren seems to have a liking to Ike, which is unusual because he seems pretty distant from everybody else. Interesting. You've got a lot of work, and it's going to be quite serious. Making sure everybody's outfitted, gathering intelligence, abilities and relationships. There's a lot to go over, and this is probably going to be the longest preparation screen part in the entire game, with maybe the final chapter being the other exception, but for now. Buy and forge weapons for us. Forging is one of the more important parts, even in this difficulty. I'm not going to abuse it in this chapter, but I definitely will show it off, and one of the reasons why it's useful. I know you said show me everything, but this is too much. I can't keep up. It is a lot to take in, that is for sure. Show me the ropes along the way. I'll take over for now. Why don't you get some rest? Get some rest, and that's an order. And Titania seems a bit uneasy with that. It's a little interesting. But for now, we have this screen. I'll go over each function real quick before I get into the actual meat and potatoes of things. First off, we finally have the merchant convoy, and I'm going to double check something while I'm at it. I already have 7 things in it. So, let's see. Gotri Steel Lance and Shinon's weapons, both in the convoy. As said from last time, they do drop off whatever items they're holding on to. But for now, I'm going to throw all my bands in the convoy for the moment. Meanwhile, give everything that's on Oscar and... not Soren. Titania. Boyd, I'm just going to give Fire Ward and definitely this Miracle. I want a full vulnerary for you for what's coming up. Reese, put away the Steel Axe and the Pole Axe. Is there anything else that needs to be put away? I can definitely don't need as many vulneraries on Ike. And I can definitely get away with throwing away a lot of these things back into the convoy as well. But for now, that's that functionality. Equip. All of these are fairly straightforward. Equip is basically what item do you want to equip? Oh, excuse me. What item do you want to equip? Trade, pretty straightforward. List actually shows you an entire list of every single item, regardless of who has it or not. Give all gives everything into the convoy. Unequip, pretty straightforward. Drop is something I only recommend if you fill up the convoy, which is actually kind of hard. It's a 200 item limit convoy. But for now, we have the shop. Forge. Alright, I want to show this off because on difficult, this is a bit different. If you're playing on lower difficulties, the items in here are a little bit different, as you'll usually see both steel weapons and certain others too. There's also tomes, which include fire and wind tomes. But importantly, you do not have access to steel weapons to forge right now, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to hold off on forging for a little bit. Other than that, selling... There are 2 shops, as you might notice, the armory and the shop. The shop has all of your healing items and vulneraries. You want to check back between all of the shops periodically, mostly because you want to make sure that you have the ability to, or at least see what's available, because you're going to have a moving inventory from chapter to chapter. But for now, I want to buy a hand axe for Boyd for absolute sure. And you're probably going to see me maxing out on inventory for a bit on characters now that the merchant convoy is here, since there's no reason not to. Whenever you gain max number of items, you instead drop it in the convoy instead of the sword that I dropped from Ike in chapter 4, I believe it was, part 5. Manage. Skills. You can do one of 2 things. What I'm about to do to Boyd, remove Tempest, doubles biorhythm effects. If you remember from the episode where I covered Reese's Serenity, Doubling biorhythm effects means that your accuracy is going to swing wildly. I do not like that, so I'm going to remove it. Assign. You can assign any skills that you have, as long as you have scrolls for them. Miracle is the only skill that I have right now, and it's not something I want to assign. Miracle is a luck trigger, basically, and it'll have the damage that you would take otherwise. It's basically save you from that. Or EXP. Remember all the bonus EXP that I've been showing off? You can level up characters with it. I'm going to save that for the end due to a trick I'm going to show off. Support. Remember how Titania said you need to know everybody's relationships? This is where it comes into play. You can see who they can support with and what affinities they have. You can also check the character's affinities by going to this little screen over here. Attribute. Divine protection that this unit receives. It affects the affinity with other units. Not exactly true. Each affinity has its own separate boost to some form of attribute on a character. For example, Ike's Earth affinity will increase Pure Void, meaning that he will be even dodgier. I believe you have to be within 3 spaces of your support partner in order for it to take effect, but it can happen. By default, you'll always have Ike and Oscar up to 1 point of support whenever you start this chapter. Conversations. Each of these stars represents something different. 2 represents usually something about a hint, even though it's usually indirect. And 1 star tends to be flavorful text of some kind. These are all said through Ike's perspective, so let's get started with the merchants. Or merchant, but it's merchants. Young Commander, I've heard so much about you. My, you are a young one, aren't you? Yes. And a reasonable price. And it sounds like a good proposition. I'm the weapon merchant Mustin. I'll be sure to stock your weapons you prefer. I'm a vendor of various goods, wide variety of items for sale, and hopes that we stop by soon. George will buy anything that you want, weapons or what have you. Daniel, the craftsman, special made to order items. He is the person that will forge our items. We also have a storage warehouse of sorts for extra things. The merchant convoy I was mentioning earlier. Happy to take the offer. May this enterprise be profitable for everybody. That's just the basic teaching of each of the shops and how they work. Unknown. Let's see. Is it coming from over here? Why? Greil. Why you? Seems Titania's very broken up over Greil's death. Who knows, perhaps she loved him despite him being a previously married man. You never know. She just fell asleep. That's good to hear. Missed is sleeping at the very least. Should she be getting to bed too? What is it? This is just fine. Interesting way to put it, Rolf. And thank you, Rolf. Indeed. Considering everything's been going wrong, it's nice to hear that somebody believes in Ike and Mist. And Ike is curious, considering Boyd hated the idea before, so he wants to know the truth. What you can and can't. On the other hand, this is what Commander Greil wanted. He had faith in you, and I've got faith in him. When her dad died, I was the one who had to take care of baby Rolf. No clue what he was supposed to do. And Oscar received a discharge from military service and came home. He gave us a place to sleep and food on the plates. Nobody could have asked anything else. No obligation to Ike. We're all part of one big family, indeed. That's why you can always count on Boyd. Boyd is the man. Indeed. He really knows how to charm a person. At least he's enthusiastic, despite the fact that he can be somewhat lazy. Last up, Reese. What do you have to say? What were you doing? Praying. Interesting. Forgive him. Shed tear, no more blessings they receive in the hereafter. Meanwhile, I can't seem to cry, which is a bit odd, but who knows? Oh, Ike, I'd be honored. Thank you, Reese. I'm not gonna lie, it adds a depth to the characters. Now I'm going to save before I start doing any of the bonus experiencing, as it were. Now, award EXP. I'm going to level up Ike as is, and we'll see where it goes. Level up. Very nice Ike. I could have asked for speed, but that was honestly a good level up that I don't care. And considering that everything else is actually in a fairly good spot for the time being, I'm going to equip the Mage Band to hopefully help your magic go up. This is for a plan I have after Ike promotes, which I know is a while away, as Ike has a forced promotion at the end of a certain chapter instead of one that's natural, let's call it. Let's save again, and I'll show off... Maybe I'll show off a trick. We'll see. Hopefully I don't have to, but we'll see. Next up, we have Boyd. I'm going to dump one level of experience into Boyd, absolutely just to help pick up his speed. Level up Boyd, let's see. Alright, Boyd's speed didn't go up. So what I'm going to do instead, there's a trick in this game where you can press B, X, and start at the same time. It's the same as pressing the reset button on an actual GameCube. It'll take you back to the title screen, and then you can reload your save. So if you don't like your level up, you can do that. This is why I've also been saving after every level up I want to keep. Absolutely worth it. You could technically rig it so that way it's perfect level ups every time. I'm not. I'm going to show off all my level ups that I do enjoy. But for now, I'm going to do this to stat fix. I'm going to cut away until I get an actual level up I like and enjoy. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, that's a defensive level up, but I can take it for Boyd. I could very well have Boyd probably promote in this chapter if I wanted to, but I'm gonna try to avoid that for the time being. In the meantime, Reese's turn, once I equip him with a band, as he definitely could use some help. I'll give him the Paladin band for the time being, just because extra HP is going to help him more than anybody else. Reese. Let's save first, so that way less need to redo stuff. Okay. I'm not that worried about Reese's speed right now, so I'm just perfectly fine with that level up. Mia, I need you for this chapter, unfortunately. And the chapter after that, now that I think about it. So, what I'm going to do is, with the bands, I'm going to take the Fighter Band Or should I be using the Knight Band? Probably the Fighter Band. It's a bit easier to get your HP to go up. But for now, I'm going to do that. And then save. Alright, that's good Mia level up. I'm going to save, and then I will be right back again after the next level. Solid. And that's all the bonus experience that I am handing out for this part. So let's save, and then let's head out and into the chapter and see what we're actually dealing with. For now, Convoy, take the full iron sword. Soren, take the fire tome. So I get some money. Void. Actually keep that. I want to give you, however, the pole axe, and give the iron axe in favor of a steel axe for this chapter. You're fine, you're fine. Mia. Is there anything here that can help? Nothing will help boost your damage, okay. Let's leave the base, and then let's get onto it. Does everything look good? And did Titania get enough rest? As much as could be expected, eh? Still, they've got business to deal with. Some new recruits, and an audience with King Gallia. That's for sure. Nothing yet from the palace. We should be receiving word sometime soon, but it looks like there's more bad news. Looking outside the window. It seems Dan didn't care. And that's not what he thinks it is, but it is. That's a squad of Dane soldiers. Why do they have to show up now? Indeed. They must be out of their minds to pursue us this far. Oh, right. You are right indeed, Boyd. Anywho, we're one of their priorities right now. No escape. Even worse. We have to move on to fight. Greil mercenaries move out. And Soren's going to begin formulating a strategy right now. Back and hide. Indeed. Alright, be careful. And the medallion's glowing again. Interesting. Please watch and protect Ike. Oh yeah, indeed. In the meantime, Jeeble Castle. I'll talk more about the layout after we get into the next part, but for now, let's finish with setting up. First off, Titania, Oscar, stay out of here. Boyd, move on up. Reese, head over here behind Mia. And that's about all there is to it. Kamura has a soldier band. This is what you get if you're playing on New Game Plus. Basically, if you've beaten the game once already, and along with all the other bands. Boyd, you have some work to do now. And this is why I gave him the pole axe, as it is effective against horseback units. Also, he's close to not taking any speed penalties from it, which is pretty good. And it's a bit more accurate than the hammer, which, the less said about that, the better. Oh yeah, Boyd. He's the man, and he's gonna have to do some work. The only other thing I want to show off? Hey, this is the first time we've had somebody who isn't the boss also have a unique portrait. Ileana. One of the few things that I will say the game is not very good at explaining. If you go over all the way to the right, conversation. Ileana with Ike. That is one of the few things that is important to note, if you ever want to check if somebody's recruitable on the map at the moment. With that said, we'll take care of that in the next part. Thank you for watching, everybody. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons, as well as hit the notification bell to stay up to date. I'll see you in the next part.